Hello!
Hi.
We're Needy Cat Games. I'm James.
I'm Sophie.
And in the room is a cat as well, who is quite needy and might interrupt the filming, so just be aware. We are a little game studio from the UK, if you haven't heard of us, and we designed the upcoming Hellboy the board game for Fanatics Games, which is hopefully, it's coming out towards the start of next year, not far off now, and we really like it. We hope you guys will as well.
Can't wait.
Yeah. But we thought we'd do a little video because, of course, the new Hellboy trailer's come out. And over the past year, in the process of writing this game, we have become massive Hellboy nerds. I was already a bit of a fan of Hellboy. So you'd read a few comics here and there. But we've really done a deep dive over the past year. I've read everything from the Mignolaverse over the past year, which is 25 years of comics. That's no mean feat. Sophie's been kind of dipping in and out as she's been doing bits and pieces.
I've been doing more laser-guided concentration on very specific points of time.
And conveniently at the moment, you've been reading
Darkness Calls
for one of the expansions to the game. And the new Hellboy movie draws very heavily from 3 comics in a row. It's Darkness Calls, The Wild Hunt, and the third one, the name of which I can never quite get right. It's Smoke and Fire, or Fire and Smoke, or Ash and Flames, or some kind of that sort of thing. But anyway, we thought it'd be great fun to have a look at the trailer. We've already watched it. We thought, let's watch it again, talk a bit about it, go into some detail, because there are loads of little nuggets of comic book reference type stuff in this.
Yeah, this is such an exciting trailer because there's so many little tidbits.
When we first saw it, we were like, oh, it's that guy, oh, it's that, oh, that must be that.
Yeah.
But so we'll get into detail as we go, but should we just watch some trailer? Let's do it. Let's do it. That's a block of flats.
Yeah. It's a cave.
If there is ever an end in this forever war.
Yeah, okay, let's go. So first of all, the voice is there.
Yeah.
I don't know who the first one's meant to be. Maybe one of the witches. I know there's a witch who turns up and opposes the Blood Queen. Am I right?
Sort of. No. Well,
is it Nemu or something? Or emu?
No. So
there's an emu that turns up.
No. So basically, the witches obviously betrayed the Blood Queen.
Yeah.
And this is, by the way, spoilers.
Oh yeah. True,
if you haven't read the comics, then some of the stuff we're talking about we don't know what's in the film. So we don't know if this is spoilering it or not, if they've changed the storyline or anything. So we're just talking about the lore of the comics and how it relates to this. Yeah. So we don't know anything about the content of the film other than this trailer. So therefore, please be prepared that if we talk about that, it might spoil something.
Yeah. And massive disclaimer, much as we've said we're not big Hellboy nerds, we pale in comparison to a lot of people out there. Yeah. So we're probably going to get loads of things wrong.
Yeah.
Please tell us in the comments, and we'll try not to. But, you know, I like to think that we're kind of in the middle range of Hellboy nerddom, which is, it's pretty good.
Cool. But anyway, so we don't know what that first voice, who that was. It could be a whole bunch of stuff. It could be, if it's to do with the Wild Hunt, it could be even the voice of the fortune teller lady from the Osiris Club.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of people it could be.
Because the Osiris Club are in this.
Yes,
so,
we'll see that in a minute. It's not
clever.
Let's talk about the thing that's in front of us.
Well, we just had Ian McShane as well.
Yep.
Who's playing Lovejoy. Sorry, no, not Lovejoy. He's playing Lovejoy playing Trevor Broom. Which is, I thought it was quite cool, because actually it's nice to see Ian McShane return to Lovejoy, because he's done a lot of,
Lovejoy, who was an assassin.
Exactly. He knows he's playing Lovejoy.
Yeah, Lovejoy, who was a pirate. And
or Lovejoy, who went off to the Old West and opened a bar,
Yeah.
I thought it was really nice to see him just playing core Lovejoy, default Lovejoy.
Straight up.
No, honestly, it's weird. They've so I think we're going to say this a lot throughout this. They have changed a lot of fundamental ideas. A lot of the characters are in places they shouldn't be. They're appearing before or after they would.
Timelines seem pretty mixed up.
Timeline's a bit mad, but they've clearly done it to distance themselves from the Guillermo del Toro, Ron Perlman Hellboy movies. Because the fact is, it's not like a Marvel film where people are used to seeing 7 iterations of Spider-Man. I nearly said Batman. We would have been crucified if I'd called Batman a Marvel film. But yeah, there are 7 different, movie versions of Spider-Man. There's probably not 7. There probably are 7, actually. Yeah. But
I think
there's so many different versions of the comic character to draw on. Whereas Hellboy, there's only one Hellboy. It's been consistent for 25 years. It's a very detailed, very consistent universe. And so they've had to make some changes in order to make it feel different. It's not like with Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man, they've drawn much more on maybe Ultimates or something like that, to differentiate things.
But I think it's really interesting that Broom's in it more, because he's always implied as being like a badass the whole way through. Like you find out all sorts of weird stuff like throughout the comics. It just hints at little things that he's
when you go back to
the
BPRD backstory series, BPRD 1940, whatever, I think you see him in action, and he is a badass.
Yeah.
But of course, when in the comics, I mean, it's no secret to say, in the first bit of the first comic, Scene of Destruction, he dies very early on, and what you're sort of seeing is his legacy throughout the comics. Here, of course, they've kept him alive. Yeah. Which is interesting.
Well, he's not as old. He clearly isn't as old in this either. Yeah. So
it's going to be interesting to see whether they...
If they stick to his personal timeline.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's all up for...
We'll see. Yeah.
This is Excalibur. And it's clearly Excalibur.
It looks exactly the
same in the comics. It's got the same colour of metal. It's pretty much almost exactly the same rock. Yeah. I really like as well, I've noticed as well, when I've watched this is like my fourth go, they've made really dramatic lighting in a lot of it, so you get very black
light and shadow.
Like
it's
very
so Mignola. Yeah, they've gone really... It feels like a bit of a love letter to the fans, which is weird, because a lot of the fans are going, this is dreadful! And I think part of it is because the trailer's been cut in a very particular way.
Well...
But that means nothing these days, doesn't it?
And also I just think, just because it's not the same as the previous film, that doesn't mean that it's inherently bad, it just means it's not the same.
Well, that's it. A lot of people only know Hellboy from the two movies.
Exactly. And I think as well, a thing that I really believe in is that with all sorts of multiple iterations of things, is that the existence of this film doesn't delete the other two films. Those are still fine and good, and they are still a part of the rich tapestry.
I saw someone say online, I agree with this, is they were Guillermo del Toro films first and Hellboy films second.
Absolutely.
I think that's true. There were certain bits, I mean...
There was some weird stuff in there.
Abe Sapien was a really weird left turn for that character. He's nothing in the film like he is in the comics.
Yeah.
Hellboy, kind of, ish. But, yeah. So here we go. We're 11 seconds in, and we've done very little actual...
Okay, but Excalibur, that's clearly Excalibur. Yeah. It's clearly...
We know that's all part of the storyline.
Clearly that's part of the storyline.
There was that promo poster of him holding it
and
on fire.
And everyone was like, oh, is that Excalibur? And that clearly is.
Yeah. So let's carry on.
War? It will be because of you and your strong right hand.
So, this is in London. Clearly.
Obviously, yep.
And that was clearly like getting towards the end of that. When Britain is beginning to get a bit overwhelmed.
So this is the thing.
Stuff.
So yeah, of course. So in the comics, Hellboy goes to England. What's interesting is that there is this very romanticised view of England. It's all sort of cobbled streets and countryside and whatever else. But it's interesting to see it in it's in the city, and it looks from the trailer as though a lot of the film is going to be set in England, which you would expect from that. But it looks a lot more urban. So I'm guessing, and this is just a guess, because obviously the trailer's going to be cut completely out of order. I'm going to assume they're going to start off in the city and then move out, and the rest of the story will happen in the country, maybe.
Or maybe the other way round.
Yeah, so we're seeing something here. Now, looking at the museum, I know this is clearly a museum frontage kind of thing. Is it the British Museum? I'm not sure. But there's a punch-up later in the trailer, so I think we know who is in here.
Yeah, okay.
But we'll come back to that. So here is a Hellboy reveal. And this is divided opinion.
I'm on your side! Sorry, my bad.
So two things. First of all, I love the fact that they've gone with the comic notion that Hellboy is just another guy.
Yeah, a lot of people don't stress. I mean, some people are like, oh, but that's the most reaction he ever gets.
Completely, yeah. Generally, it's more like, oh, you're the chosen one, something, Yeah, whereas in the Del Toro films, of course, it was much more of a thing of he's in the shadows and no one knows he exists. Whereas here, people are just taking him for
who he is,
face value. I'm not 100% sure about what I feel about the look of Hellboy. Let's get back from here. Look, I can do this very quickly. There's a lot of frames here.
That's a lot.
Here we go. Yeah. So big change. The hair.
Yeah, massive change.
It's interesting. I mean, the thing is, Hellboy's always had long hair. He just ties it back. That's kind of the thing. But again, it's clearly an attempt to differentiate the look of him from Ron Perlman's Hellboy. I think the red right hand's a bit long, but as you said earlier, it's
when you see the vignettes in the comics, his arm is significantly longer.
And it's very abstract, very stylised.
It is very stylised, and obviously as well, the thing that I think balances out how long his arm is in the artwork of the comics is that he has much shorter legs, and obviously you don't have that option here.
No, of course.
So
David Harbour, why are your legs so long?
Yeah.
Did you not consider shortening your legs for this film?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think the look of Hellboy, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what we get.
Yeah.
I will say, as I've watched the trailer more, I've watched the trailer a few times now, it has grown on me.
Yes.
And David Harbour's awesome anyway, so I'm excited one way or another.
Sorry, my bad.
So the music, I've seen a lot of comments about the music.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people are going, oh, what is this? Is it trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor Ragnarok, Suicide Squad? The fact is, I think trailers are cut to sell the movie to as many people as possible, and they often use music, shots, dialogue that will not be in the final film. So I think it would be silly to throw away the film and go, oh, I'm not going to watch it because
it's the music.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, I mean, I've seen a lot of people go, oh, it looks too silly, and it's like there's so much like Hellboy as a series of comics is like two sides of the same coin. Is one is horribly dark and really haunting stuff, and like ridiculous, weird.
My favourite response to that is just someone on Twitter posted just the 3-panel. Is that a monkey? He's got a gun! Bang, bang, bang! Yeah, and it's like that's Hellboy encapsulated. You know, it is tongue in cheek. It has some very serious bits. And I think what people are focusing on is that particular run in the comics is quite a serious, dark run.
Yeah, it's quite a dark run.
Hellboy goes off on his own. He's on a whole sort of journey of working out who he is.
Well, I'm running away from the fate.
Yeah.
Telling him
but the fact is, they're trying to encapsulate the whole experience in this. And again, the trailer is being cut because people are going to big summer blockbusters that are full of witty jokes and one-liners.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's judge it on merit when it comes out, I suppose. Here we go. So, this character over here on the left with the dreadlocks, that is Alice Monaghan.
Do you think it is Alice?
It is. I looked it up.
You looked it up?
I looked it up. So, Alice, do you want to tell us who Alice is, for those who don't know?
She's kind of not... I don't want to say a sidekick. That sounds awful. So, basically, Alice was a baby who got kidnapped. Yeah, okay, who got kidnapped by the Fae, the fairy folk. And in the history of Hellboy, he basically went and helped out and found her basically by
it was a changeling.
Changeling. Torturing a changeling with iron, finding out some information, meeting some other people, taking a corpse to a grave. It was a very long-winded thing, but he eventually rescued her. And so then her parents were forever grateful, and it transpires that a lot later she is still seeing fairies and is now sort of exists on the edge of their world. Like, she isn't part of their world, and she's
still very much human, but she was touched by fate. It's playing on that kind of the mythological idea that, you know, changelings might steal babies, or if you've been in contact with the fairy folk, you can, you know,
you're sort of part of that world. Yeah. So she can see the Fae, and she is kind of present at some other events. There's some stuff where I'm not sure if they're going to do the whole death of the last king of the Fae. Yeah. If that's going to be a whole storyline or not, because she was actually present at the funeral. But neither Hellboy nor Alice can quite tell if that was a dream or whether it was reality.
It's that Midsummer Night's Dream thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not quite real.
And a lot of the stuff in Hellboy comics is all about that kind of that edge between them. Did I remember that? Yeah. Or was that a thing that I imagined?
But in the comics, she is very much so. She's like kind of... Hellboy comes to England, which kicks off this whole thing. And so she's like an old friend of his. Yeah. You know, he's known her since she was a baby. Here, interestingly, she's a member of the BPRD. So you see it in a minute. She's wearing a BPRD jacket. She's kicking ass with a knuckle duster and a handgun. So they've clearly gone with a different route on the character for this. I
wonder if they're going to stick with the same backstory.
Well, I think they're going to have to, because otherwise it's not Alice, is it? No. The whole point of Alice is that she's a character who Hellboy knows and trusts. Mm-hmm. She is kind of his gateway into the Fae world, and she was kidnapped by fairies as a baby. So I'm guessing that's going to be part of it still.
A big part of her arc as well is that she actively is one of the biggest things that pushes her down the Excalibur route.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need to go and take Excalibur, and you need to go and save England. And she is that voice when he's constantly trying to run away from the fate that's potentially ahead of him.
And also she's kind of a bit of a love interest. Which towards the end of it, not massively. There's that sort of
hint.
As much as anyone. Which at least is better than Liz, because when
they sort of crowbarred that in, it didn't really.
Anyone who's read the comics is like, no, that's really weird. They're like brother and sister. You can't have Liz and Hellboy making out. That's really odd.
It's weird.
But they are a male and female character in a film, therefore. Yeah. But anyway, so that's Alice. So I'm interested to see where she goes. Mm-hmm. But again, this is the kind of thing we're talking about, where they've clearly made a lot of changes to characters. but all in quite interesting ways. I'm a big believer that when you take a story from one medium to another, there's always going to be changes, and I find it interesting to see what those changes are and why they've happened.
Well, we deal with that a lot with what we do, because we write board games based on IP. You can't translate things perfectly from one thing to the other, and you have to make compromises. Like, oh, actually, that story doesn't work if you're physically moving things around a board, or it's not as fun to play. So, is there a way that we can get around that?
Like the Darkness Calls stuff that you're writing currently.
Yeah,
it doesn't stick 100% to the storyline.
No.
Because if it did, you'd have one player playing Hellboy, and that'd be it.
And it'd be boring.
Yeah.
So you don't want to exclude people from that experience. So you have to tweak it and change it.
Yeah.
And I think you have to accept that if you're transferring one piece of IP and story from one medium to another, then there's always going to be compromises to optimise your experience. Now, we don't know whether that's going to happen with this film when it comes out.
It might be poo.
It might be rubbish. But
I hope not.
No, I'm really excited about it. But the thing is that... I think just saying because it's different it is inherently bad is probably a bit
reductive.
harsh. It's reductive.
There's a word. Right, we're 30 seconds in. Should we keep going?
Okay.
We fight against the forces of darkness.
Oh, that's our first look at Broom. Lovejoy.
Yeah.
It's just Lovejoy.
It's just Lovejoy.
It's old Lovejoy. But yeah, there's that. What I'd like to know is who he's talking to, because he's clearly introducing... There's gonna be a gateway character, isn't there? The character who comes in and doesn't know what it's all about.
Sees everything for the first time.
Yeah, because in the Hellboy Del Toro one, there was a new agent, wasn't there, who came in and got introduced. It's always the way to do it, isn't it? So I'm wondering, are they going to introduce a character? I've heard rumours that Lobster Johnson's in this, but I'm guessing it's not him. Like a plucky young Lobster Johnson.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that.
This is there.
Oh! Go back. I've just noticed something for the first time.
Go on.
Go.
I'm
Just
going.
keep going.
I'm going.
I can't explain
It's
it until you see it.
It's taking
oh
time.
My goodness. James, look, right, so he's got a big hole in the back of his coat, and that is clearly from the Wild Hunt.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's exactly the same shape, because I might have been reading that comic today. So,
this is the thing, it's like, we're not only looking at the comics, we're looking at all the artwork and finding references for cards and things.
That is, so in the Wild Hunt... spoilers? I don't know if we've done a spoiler warning.
I think we'll just say we said it, but we'll just put at the start. There are spoilers.
Yeah. So in the Wild Hunt, in the Wild Hunt, he's hunted down by the people, the members of the Wild Hunt, and he thinks he's going to help them to hunt giants. They actually turn on him, and they put a spear through his heart and put him into a river.
Who does
explode an explode grenades, I think, or an exploding spear. I think it's a grenade on the back of the spear. Is kind of the implication. Well, it's like an explosive device that's attached to the spear.
Yeah. Is it not magic? They're not fairies with magic.
No, they're not fairies. They're people who are hunting. You've not read Darkness Calls.
This is what I mean. It's way back.
No, I know. It's been quite a long time.
You're right.
It's humans. They're humans who go on a
yes.
hunt to hunt down the giants. But the thing is that...
Don't the Fae join them at one point?
No, that's nothing to do with it. It's just there's a man with a deer head. That's probably where you're mixing things up.
Yeah, probably. But he's just a man with a deer head.
He's just a man wearing a head that's a deer.
Okay. This is the thing. I'm like 20 years on from that. This is like distant history.
So that is clearly the big hole in his jacket from being speared. So that's quite an interesting thing.
That's going to happen then. That's
potentially going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I just think that's pretty clear indication.
And on the left here, now this isn't, because you've not really hit the BPRD stuff much.
Not much. I've read a bit of it.
So this is Ben Damio, who...
I've read a bit about him, but...
Yeah, so he's a character who comes in after Hellboy's left the BPRD. He's gone off. And you've got Johan and Ben kind of come in as replacements because they need more people. He's like an ex-Army Special Forces guy who got mauled by a horrific were-jaguar. Long story. And he ended up helping the BPRD. But he's very suspicious of Abe. Hang on, no. Oh, see, I'm losing it. He's a character who his loyalties are calling into question a few times. Not because he himself is suspicious, but he very much distrusts certain of the members of the team. And I'm struggling to think who it exactly is. But clearly in the trailer, they've transferred that onto him and Hellboy aren't getting along. Mm. They've made him English, which is odd. Mm-hmm. And they've calmed down his horrific face wound.
Didn't he have just half a face missing?
In the comic, you can't see his teeth. He hasn't got a cheek. It's nasty.
Yeah, well, I can see why they tend to.
I can absolutely
and
see.
Also, just from a practical sort of cost point.
Yeah. So yeah, cool.
You're expecting a sign that says secret headquarters.
Oi, I need some ID, love.
Apparently, Little No from EastEnders. I've never watched EastEnders, but apparently that's Little No from EastEnders.
Okay.
Who is apparently Gary Oldman's sister.
Okay.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Are you serious?
So here's a shot of the BPRD headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
They've kept the BPRD logo, of course they have.
Yeah,
It's
but
really
why
iconic.
wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I don't understand why you wouldn't.
No.
So good.
Damn weapon.
Oh, right,
So,
go back.
okay,
Who
so
is
here we
this?
go. Hang on a second. We've got a little bit to untangle here. So you made me a goddamn weapon. So clearly they're introducing an element of
There's still some tension there.
tension between Hellboy and Broom, which was never really in the comics. Later on in the comics, you end up... Abe finds out a lot of stuff about the way that Broom treated them and raised them and his kind of ideas behind them. And he clearly didn't approve. There was some tension there, but of course at this point Broom was, 5-10 years dead. So it didn't matter. Whereas here they kind of brought that to the fore.
It's interesting though that this one and the previous Hellboy films have gone for that kind of friction.
I think it's an easy drama, easy point of dramatic tension, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you get a real good look at him here, and they really are playing up the stylised comic book look of his face. So
Right.
who's this?
Who
well,
is it?
well, we can see who this is, can't we? So this is the first shot of, I think, Grugak. However you're supposed to say his name. I say Grugak or Grugach.
Graugak?
So he is the fey creature, the changeling initially, who had taken Alice Monaghan's place. Who swears vengeance on Hellboy and ends up becoming
because he burnt
pretty
him
powerful.
alive.
Yeah.
You see, I don't know though. I think it might be the other one with the fist. I can never remember his name.
You're right. Yeah. Isn't there a whole thing where there's the big pig monster, and then Grugak gets put into the pig monster in somewhere?
Yeah. That's a different thing.
There's another one with a big fist, isn't there? You're right.
The big
There's a whole lot of big fists. Big fisted monkeys.
fists.
That's what the Mignoliverse should be called.
Yeah. so yeah. Oh yeah. There's the thing where there's the one of the great. It's like a certain kind of giant. He Graugak releases it as in revenge.
You're right.
He gets eaten by the giant, and Hellboy defeats him and makes him tiny.
Yeah.
His spirit is still dwelling within the beast, and then he pushes the spirit of the beast out because he has a stronger spirit and takes over the body, and is then trapped in a small body of a little.
It all makes perfect
warthoggy
sense.
Pig.
Yeah. Who is adorable.
But this, I don't think that is Graugak. Graugak, or but like, I think it's the guy with the.
I think you could be right. Certainly, it looks like he's exploding.
That's an arm. That's a big fist on the left. Like...
I think you're right. Oh, and in fact, there's a shot in the trailer. I think you're entirely right, because in a minute there's a shot in the trailer, and I'll point it out when it comes up. So yes, we got a bit of a punch up here. So this looks like probably the interior of the museum where they were pulling up outside earlier on. So maybe this is an early scene in the film where we, find out
establish.
This is weird. This is not anything that I recognise.
No.
There's clearly a thing where Alice and Hellboy go and infiltrate some place.
There's making stuff.
Yeah. So
shall we press play? See, don't recognise these guys.
To help you become the best you.
Antique stealer. Yeah, so actually, here's an interesting thing. Throughout the trailer, Hellboy uses his gun a lot.
Yes.
There's a lot of focus on his gun. In the Ron Perlman Hellboy movies, the gun was a big thing. It was the Samaritan, it was a big thing, it was a whole... Never a thing in the comics. In the comics, he uses a gun. At one point, he uses a really big, meaty gun, because clearly it's, it suits him. But the constant running joke is that he can't shoot for Sophie.
No.
One of my favourite two panels is where he's firing at a giant.
Yeah.
And the next panel is the gun hitting the giant in the face because he's realised he's better off just throwing it at him.
Yeah.
But I think you pointed this out the other day, didn't you?
So I have a theory about this when I saw it yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday. So I think they're egging up the gun because there's this particular line, and I think it's in Wild Hunt where he's told, you've used guns all your life, but you've always preferred a sword in your hand. And the whole point is that, like, the whole drive for Hellboy is that he is destined to become some kind of monstrous monarch. And the argument that they try and put to him is that, well, you could become the Prince of Hell and take over the world, or you can protect the world by becoming the King of England and taking Excalibur, and you've always had that drive in your soul to hold a sword and lead an army. Do it with Excalibur. Yeah. And obviously there's a whole backstory justifying why he could do that in the first place, and I'm not going to spend time explaining the entire backstory, but the whole theory of it is you've used guns but that's never how you felt comfortable.
Yeah.
You've always wanted to hold a sword, so take it. And so I think they're really egging up the gun
Excuse me.
as a contrast to him taking the sword.
Yeah, completely. I love the Ian McShane face we've stopped on here. That's good. That's that. No, I think you're spot on with that. I think they're showing him with the gun loads to contrast with the sword later. Yeah.
That's my thing.
And then
This is clearly a sporting event.
And I am so happy about this.
Oh, it's
when I saw
exciting.
this, I did a little squeal. And not this particular scene, but what follows. So it seems like there's going to be at some point probably a montage or little short things of stuff that Hellboy's done in the past.
Yeah.
And that is like ripe with little references for the comic fans. So yeah, there's the gun.
There's the gun.
Some dads get their kids Legos.
There's the Wild Hunt.
Yeah, now look at
And
this.
you can
This
see
is...
they've got these sort of pikes with the what looked like, I don't know, like electronic or explosive devices on them.
Yeah, so these are like the rich kids who are out hunting giants, basically, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's kind of the idea. Yeah, no, you're right. I'd thought they were elves, and I was like, oh, they're going technological elves, but they're not at all. They
No.
are
These are people.
And and
that's Hellboy on the front
course.
right, and he's not got the hole in the back of his coat.
So yeah, that's a very good spot.
Yeah.
And there's the guy at the front with the stag head. So yeah, a bit of Wild Hunt happening.
Haven't we got to be saving the world or something?
See, this is the same bit that we don't recognise that bit with the
Yes,
with the
there's clearly,
weird,
like I say, an infiltration
some
sort of thing.
like these guys. I don't.
Yeah,
recognise
who
them
are
at
they?
all.
I mean, is it maybe Ragnarok? Like,
Unless, I was going to say, the only thing I can think of is, like the Nazi base in the Conqueror Worm. Where they're doing weird science stuff.
Have they knocked that forward a bit?
Yeah, they advanced the
Yeah,
technology.
you can see she's fighting with a pistol and a knuckle duster.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's an interesting...
It's an interesting combo.
She's even wearing a BPRD t-shirt.
She is.
That's
Look,
impressive. And a belt buckle. I'm proving it.
They're not shy about who they work
They're
for.
very, very keen on brand recognition.
But I won't lie, I mean, the choreography looks fun. The idea of them sort of teaming up and fighting, which I won't lie, is totally how the board game works. Plug.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about kind of coordinating your attacks and taking turns doing things. So she hits someone and then Hellboy shoots in the face. Eats the crisp.
Osiris Club, clearly.
The Osiris Club, yeah,
clearly
exactly.
the Osiris Club.
So I'm terrible at faces. Is that Ian McShane on the right? It's not, is it?
No, it's not.
That's...
No, not at all. No, not even close.
No, it's not.
No.
Yeah, but of course, so throughout the whole of the comics run, you have whole things where people are fascinated by the arm, the right hand of Doom. It's, it has a function. It's meant to be the only thing that can unlock the prison where the
Ogdru Harem.
The Ogdru Hem.
The Ogdru Hem.
Ogdru Jihad, sorry.
Ogdru Jihad. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
sorry.
See?
The 7 that is 1.
And all the way through, loads of people are like, it's this fabled thing. What is it? And he just hits things with it, which is great. I love that.
It's indestructible. That's the whole point,
Yes.
isn't it? It's like the whole point. Well, he's indestructible as well, but like.
So this is clearly the Osiris Club.
Does it do anything special?
The Osiris Club basically is where Hellboy is recruited into the Wild Hunt.
Yeah.
So that's the end.
They are sticking quite close to a lot of the elements. A lot of it, even though there are some big changes, a lot of it is very close.
Yeah.
Ashes things real good.
Now this is a fascinating shot. So that is clearly London.
Yeah, because there's Canary Wharf in the background.
Canary Wharf. Now, so big mega spoiler for those that haven't read the comics. England just gets annihilated. It just vanishes.
Yep. That's like basically like some big bad stuff goes down, and England is just flattened.
Yeah.
That's just
So I don't know whether this means that that's going to happen in the movie. Big twist if it does. That's going to be awesome if they blow up England.
Yeah.
Or this is like your standard vision of the future. Look at the thing, because as you pointed out yesterday, on that dragony whatever it is.
Yeah, this is the thing, is that so there's a whole thing where whenever people talk about, because loads of people keep prophesizing what Hellboy will do, and the amount of them that say, I see you sat atop of ahead of an army in hell on top of a great black dragon, and it's prophesized multiple times, and the whole point is that that's like the beast he would ride.
Yeah.
But is that him seeing the future of him riding a giant dragon, which if you look at it, because whenever he's sort of shown as being in his like Prince of Hell mode, he's got like a flaming crown, and so you can see there's like a little spout of flame coming off the top there. So that
could be that?
So is that Hellboy sitting on a black dragon, flying over devastation, which has happened because he's brought the army from hell to Earth.
So, and if so, is that just a vision?
Is it a vision or a prophecy?
Or does it actually happen?
Or does it actually happen?
That would certainly differentiate this from the Pullman
That's
version.
going to definitely make it...
He just goes evil.
He just, just does it.
My first thought was this was Pandemonium, which is in Hellboy in Hell. There's the main city in Hell.
Yeah, and this Pandemonium is just an exact copy of London.
Hey, we've lived there. It wouldn't surprise me. Topical.
But, or is it, as well, the other thing it could be is it could be the dragon, which is the big bad at the end.
I doubt it. That's a bit literal.
Yeah, but there is a dragon.
It's very much a fell beast, isn't it? It's a bit of a fell beast. That's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, here we go. So, Camazotz, yeah, he's the... so this is an ancient Aztec vampire god in the form of a giant bat luchador. What is not to like?
Yes!
So this is from Hellboy in Mexico, which is so out of left field.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of the expansions we're working on with a good friend of ours. And this is... I mean, yeah, the fact that this is appearing in here, we were never expecting this, because this is nothing to do with that storyline. But this is clearly a flashback somewhere else.
Yeah, this is so... when people are complaining about weird and wacky, this is stuff that happens in comics. This is... Hellboy literally spends a long period of time as a luchador wrestling in Mexico.
It's basically, he goes off on a bender and drinks himself into a couple of, is it 6 months to a year or something?
Oh,
wrestling,
it's longer, I think.
And hanging out with three brothers who are luchadors, hunting vampires. And it all culminates in this.
And this is the big sort of culmination of one of the stories.
And it ends up with the wrestling match between Hellboy and this.
Yes!
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's really, really cool. And it's clearly... There's clearly harking back to it, so I don't know if that's going to be like a memory or it's going to be...
Post-credit sequence or...
Who knows?
But yeah, well up to that.
Aha.
So this made me very happy. I haven't told you this yet. I spotted this earlier. In the Hellboy board game, one of Hellboy's abilities is throwing furniture, and look what he's doing. He is throwing a chair. There it goes.
Cool.
And he's fluffed his dice roll and done nothing. So...
That is what I think he punches in the other
I think you're right.
scene. But
I was thinking it's Grugak, but I think you're right. And yeah, there's a bit of a fight goes on here, a bit of a scrap. Again, in the museum, this is where they are. And there it is. Yeah, see, there was a fist on fist.
I just wish I could remember the name of the boss that he
fights. Very gently touching
fists. Just like a fist bump.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I have no concept of what this is.
Yeah. No idea at all. That is... So it's some kind of big, scary, who knows what, picking up an already bloodied corpse and kind of slicing it in midair.
Is that a bloodied corpse? I thought it was Hellboy.
Totally. No, that's not Hellboy.
Oh, no, you're right. That's awful.
So that looks like, I'm guessing, something to do with the Blood Queen, maybe? Like a
Blood Reaper thing?
Yeah.
Like it's got a weird thing down its face.
Yeah. That, it's weird, because it doesn't look like the BPRD headquarters in the comics. But at the same time, it really does. It's like they've captured the essence of it without looking exactly like it.
They really have. I think it looks very BPRD.
Yeah.
Finds best and only hope.
Oh, and this is clearly the Blood Queen,
so
and that's
Grugak in the back.
Grugak in the background.
So this is Mila Jovovich as the Blood Queen. Apparently, they've fleshed out her role a lot more in the film than in the comics. In the comics, she's very much this kind of background entity.
Yeah, and then she's just like this completely mad.
Yeah.
Queen who gets everyone to join her and then turns into a giant dragon.
I mean, don't
against her will.
Don't we all?
As she gets possessed.
Could that be the dragon?
That's what I was saying, is maybe that she's the dragon.
Sorry, I'm with you.
That could have been the dragon at the end of the story
of
the not the Wild Hunt, the next one. Where she gets possessed by the spirit of the Ogadru
Big gribbly nasties.
Yeah. Because she's so desperate for power, she prays to them and it sort of opens up her brain to them and then they possess her. So she gets possessed by them and turns into an awful dragon thing and then... Yeah.
So there's her doing some magical stuff. I know, this is interesting. What we have here is Rasputin.
Yep.
Carl Rupert Cronin, who I'm guessing won't be a clockwork ninja, unlike in the
because the only thing that you get in the... comics is that he just wears a gas mask.
Exactly.
Like you don't find out anything else about him, really.
No.
And he likes knives.
He's a scientist. He comes back later in BPRD and he's kind of heading up a whole new research thing. So he's clearly this kind of semi-immortal guy with a gas mask. But yeah, look, you've got a Nazi in the background there. So this is clearly either World War II. Is it another view of like when Hellboy was summoned?
Yeah.
Are they doing that?
Or is it just another like memory? You know, like how you've got the Hellboy in Mexico stuff. Like, is this just another memory that he's just sort of going back to?
My interesting question is this World War II era, or are these like Ragnarok Nazis later on? Because if it's World War II, Trevor Broom isn't going to be there because he's nowhere near old enough.
Yeah.
Because World War II is so long ago now, and this is clearly a contemporary
exactly.
setting.
And then that brings up questions as well about, because you get Ragnarok Nazis who are just trying to bring around Ragnarok, and if they're all like, well, a lot of them are like like immortal sort of.
You've got a bit like that on, yeah.
So is it that's not actually Rasputin? Is that Rasputin's ghost? Because Rasputin's ghost turns up a lot of the time.
But yeah, because the thing is, if this is World War II, how did Hellboy stick around? Because what happened was the army guys were going to shoot him, and then Broom goes, no, I'll look after him. You know.
Is this the summoning of Hellboy, or is it a memory of just like something else that's happened?
Who knows?
Is it that they've brought it so it's more contemporary, so maybe it's based in the 70s or something?
But again, I guarantee this won't be a core plot point because it was in the first Hellboy movie, so they're going to want to avoid it. This made me so happy. This is, of course, Hellboy being thrown out of the Baba Yaga's hut.
Yeah, the chicken leg house.
Yep. When I first saw it, I thought it was a house up a tree. Yeah. But no, those are clearly chicken feathers.
Yeah, those are clearly feathers.
Feathers. Baba Yaga's going to be in it, and she's an amazing character.
Oh, she's so good. And the whole Thrice 10th Kingdom storyline, I wonder if they're going to have even time to pack that in.
Well, this is the thing, there's so much there to play with. I mean, with anything like this, we've got to sort of temper expectations because they're not going to squeeze everything in. Yeah. But he's being thrown out. Something's being thrown out with him. Is it a book? Is it?
Yeah, and he's got the stab in his back still.
So that's after that.
And
the real clear. This is the chicken-legged hut. Look on the right-hand side there. You'll see it as it comes up.
Yeah, there's a chicken leg.
Foot. Yeah.
But can we just go forwards a bit?
Backwards.
Back. That's the word I mean. So stop. Come closer. Can you get him to come closer? Stop. Right. Okay. So. In the Thrice 10th Kingdom storyline...
Which is like the Baba Yaga's realm.
Baba Yaga's realm. It's like an ancient version of Russia. So she's basically preserved this universe in which she is God. And she runs the show. There are other sort of gods and other like undead armies and things that still live in the realm with her, but she is the boss. And she... summons Koshi the Deathless, who is her slave, for various reasons.
Oh, if he's in it, it'd be awesome.
But Koshi the Deathless, right at the end, when he's trying to escape the Thrice 10th Kingdom, throws a knife in his back, right? And he gets hit in the back with a knife.
And he's now got two holes in his coat.
He's clearly got a massive hole in exactly the spot where he gets a knife in his back from Koshi.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So I don't know, but it's just really obvious. Why would you put such obvious wounds?
You're right.
It's literally in the same shoulder in the same place. And the reason I know that is because I read it the other day. But literally, the next shot, once he climbs his way out of them, is he's walking along with the knife still in him, but in our world. Like in the real world, in today's world, he's like walking along, bleeding heavily with the knife still in him. So it's really interesting that that's there.
It really is. I'd not noticed that. Oh, whoops. Oh. Okay. So yeah, that's that. There's that sort of Daimyo Hellboy rivalry kind of thing we got going on.
Yeah. Well,
and then of course, Hellboy beating up giants. So this is interesting. Yeah, it's the giants who've got like bits of cars strapped to them. And what's really interesting is that wheel doesn't look like a modern day wheel. That looks like a World War II-ish sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
So is this a flashback? Is this a modern thing, but the giants have just raided like a vintage car warehouse?
Are they gonna pursue as well the whole thing where when he fights the giants and he basically butchers them all, he kind of loses his rag and goes towards his demonic side for just a split second. But
he's trying to sneak past him, isn't he?
Yeah, and then he just gives up.
And then he just goes, no! And
he gives up and he just is like, no, and then he trashes them. But he loses his temper. He's basically had a really bad day. It's after he's been stabbed in the back by the Wild Hunt, and he's just really angry, and he's wanting to use it as an excuse.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if he's got the hole in his back when he jumps at that giant, because that'd be really interesting.
Oh, you can't
really see.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he just loses his rag and takes out his rage on them, and the whole point is that's him like just taking a tiny quarter of a step towards his like demonhood.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the story is him trying to escape that and not fulfill that part of him, which is why then he's really cautious about going near the Excalibur because he doesn't want to be dragged back towards being demonic. So there's like the really interesting conflict there, and I wonder if they're going to play on that, because that's a really big part of Hellboy's whole character, is that he doesn't want to be told how to live his life. He just wants to be...
He just wants to be kind of a normal guy.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing.
And everyone's like, you're destined to do this. And he's like, oh, I've told you before, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
That's
easily
amazing.
amused, didn't you?
Oh, I love it.
Much.
But what I love about it is that that's exactly how he's tossed around in the comics. He's always been flung quarter of a mile this way and punched straight in the face and stabbed and...
What's this?
What is that?
So that's a fight between some kind of...
That's the...
I know what that is.
Oh.
I know what that is. Also some kind of big cat thing. I know exactly what that is. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That's interesting. I'm not going to say, because that's going to maybe spoil things for people, but that's for anyone that recognised what that was, that's a very interesting moment.
Is it? It looks like a monkey to me.
Oh, shall I spoiler it?
Yeah, well, we're doing all the other spoilers.
Totally. So Ben Damio, I told you, got bitten by a were-jaguar. He becomes a were-jaguar. So that is clearly Ben Damio, were-jaguar extraordinaire, jumping in and having a go at whatever that is.
Yeah.
I hadn't spotted that at all.
No, that's the thing that we just noticed.
And that's, see, in the comics, it's a thing which is very much like he has no control over it, and it's a real horrible thing. When it happens, bad things go on. He ends up leaving the BPRD over it and living up in the mountains where he can't hurt anyone. It's a whole messy thing. So that's interesting. I wonder how they're going to bring that in. Because again, his character is nowhere near the Wild Hunt. He's just nowhere to be seen. It's set before he even got bitten by the were-jaguar in the comics. But, interesting. Little Mo with a machine gun. We've got, Hellboy being thrown into some scenery.
General destruction, being tossed around. There's that giant hand.
That's quite a good shot, actually.
I just wish I could remember his name. It's so annoying.
We'll pop it up as a little annotation at the beginning.
That's incredible. The Blood Queen again. And
now, is that the same guy? Is that him, or is...
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a question. Is that... Have they
combined the two characters, maybe? I don't know.
Let's have a look. We had a shot of his back there. It looks a lot like it, you know?
Oh.
I'm going to do a little dance. What do you think?
Yeah, but that doesn't look quite as battered, unless he grows in size as well.
See, that is all part of it, isn't it?
That's all part of it.
Yeah.
He does grow in size and diminish and grow.
I mean, there's a whole range of weird animal creatures. I hope the hedgehog's in it.
I was going to say, is it a combination of the hedgehog?
Maybe.
That's what I was going to say, because she blesses him with the blood of the first king.
Yes.
And then he becomes this ridiculous hulking, massive, golden armoured, doom
hedgehog
soldier.
Isn't it it's when Grograk's trying to get into her favour and she says, I'd rather have a hedgehog as my minion, and blesses the hedgehog. He's
well, she says that, and then later this enormous thing turns up with spines. And Hellboy just manages to kill him, and when he's died, they look at him and he's a tiny little adorable hedgehog, and you're like, oh.
But yeah, this is all stuff. Blood Queen in magic. Oh, so hang on, is that her?
A portal?
That's clearly it. If that's not a portal, look, she's sending him through into the museum to do her bidding.
Yeah.
Doing her dark bidding on the internet.
Oh,
these guys, yeah.
So there's these
goblin-y...
weird little goblin things that ambush Alice and Hellboy before they get to the Excalibur.
Yeah.
And the only thing you find out about them is there's a hag that used to steal children and eat them and hang their skins in an oak tree, and they refer to them as ungrateful children. So you never quite know what the goblin-y things are.
Yeah. But yeah, that's quite funky.
But there's some fairies and stuff
as
well.
Yeah, this is
like the Fey army, basically, I think.
On the contrary, he's arrived just in time.
We're going to see some proper sort of scenery chewing madness from her. And here we go. Look, this is, again, does this lead into the shot with the dragon? Because that's Hellboy with a flaming sword and a crown of fire, which would match up with what was on top of that dragon.
Absolutely.
Two little dots of light.
Yeah.
This is him in full-on evil mode.
Well, it's his demon mode.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean he's gone evil.
He looks pretty evil.
Yeah, but it's when he loses his rag, he grows his horns out.
There we go. There's more, isn't there? There's something else? Is there more? Is that it? Have we watched it all? We watched it all. There it is. Let's just go back to that shot of Hellboy rising out the fire. Oh, go away. But come on, yeah, look at him there. You got to say
that's prime Hellboy there. I mean,
that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, we just talked. I don't know how long this is, but on a 2-minute trailer, I think there is a lot to chew on here for fans of the comics.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really interesting. I'm really interested to see what comes of it. I'm going to try to not watch any more trailers before it comes out, but that's not going to happen. I'm going to watch them all.
You're going to watch every single one and decide.
Yeah, and absolutely. But overall, like I say, from our point of view, having worked for the last year on the Hellboy board game, it's really interesting to see a lot of that stuff come to life on the screen. Especially when you see little moments, you go, oh, hang on, that's that. No one's going to realise that's that, but that is that.
Yeah. Well, and I think as well, it just shows... I really think that there is so much from the comics crammed into this trailer. Yeah. And they might be doing that in a desperate attempt of like, no, look, really, we have followed the comics. Because, as you said, like, the previous films were good, but they didn't have so much of the content of the comics, where this feels like, there's such good storylines there. And it's one of my biggest complaints about a lot of comic book films is that they feel the need to reinvent the wheel constantly by writing new storylines. And it's like, you've got 20, 30 years of stories that are amazing there. Use one of those. And it feels like that's what they're doing with this film, which I am really excited about. Yeah,
absolutely. So I'm really excited.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people have kind of... I've got some negative opinions. Overwhelmingly, it seems to be a really negative reaction, but I don't get that.
No, I think it's great. I'm so excited about like the chicken leg house. That's just mega exciting to me.
Yeah.
Kamazoots, Kamazots is just amazing. That's going to be really fun.
I think whatever the case, though, it looks like... I think the biggest complaints I've seen are people don't like the music, they don't like the jokes, all that. But I think that is an artifact of the trailer. They said when it was first kind of being announced that they were making something dark. It's Neil Marshall, the director. Now, Neil Marshall, Dog Soldiers, The Descent.
Oh, yeah.
And all the big battle scene episodes from Game of Thrones.
Oh. He
doesn't generally do light and happy. He is pretty much like, gritty awfulness, with bits of humour thrown in. So I'm expecting this to be a lot darker than it looks in this trailer. I'm expecting a second trailer later. I might be wrong, but a second trailer that's going to...
dark.
Yeah, I think what this is about grabbing your casual fans who have heard of Hellboy and want to have a fun film. This is going to be aimed at them.
Yeah.
So...
But I cannot wait. I am
Absolutely.
so excited.
Yeah.
Why isn't it now?
So thank you for watching along with us. This has been a fun little experience. We might do some more of these videos as these come
Absolutely.
out. In the meantime, if you'd like to see more of our stuff, we are at Needy Cat Games on Twitter and Needy Cat Games on Facebook. You can find us on Patreon, Needy Cat Games. We've taken a little break from our Patreon stuff just because we've been really busy on other things. But in the new year,
mostly writing Hellboy.
Yeah, in the new year we've got a hell of a lot of stuff planned.
Yes.
We've got some playthroughs, some interesting looks back at games we've designed in the past.
We're going to be doing hangouts. We're going to be talking about our games design process. You can ask us any questions. Yep. You're a Patreon.
So that's the whole thing. But yeah, generally, if you also look up the Hellboy the board game Kickstarter campaign, which ran earlier in the year, that's covered information about the board game itself, if you're
Absolutely.
interested. And it will, I know that very soon be up for pre-order at manticgames.com.
Yes. And like and subscribe, because we
don't say that.
Stuff.
Don't say like and subscribe.
Yeah, well,
you've become a cliche.
No, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. If you do one of these, you're gonna do it. That's just
don't
the way.
Mash that bell so that you get all the subscriptions.
Is that a thing still?
I don't know. I feel very old suddenly.